Hello, and welcome back to Chapter 2 of this episode of Double Click, focused on supply chain resilience. I'm joined again by Poehling Seymour, the CEO of First Supply, and Maury Cross, who's the Chief Customer Officer at Infor. Katie's going to be sharing some really fascinating insights on what First Supply is working towards with respect to its employees. And also, she's going to be sharing a bit about the company's approach to emerging technologies like AI. Then Maury's going to be providing some really critical insights into how existing Infor customers are using technology to address that supply chain risk. If you'd like to listen to the first part of this conversation, go ahead and go to the Double Click playlist on YouTube. Let's go ahead and begin. I'd like to open this chapter by delving deeper into the supporting role of technology. Katie, can you start us off by sharing what you're using or what you plan to use from a technology perspective to become more resilient at First Supply?
A few of the things that we've looked at First Supply in supply chain resilience on the technology front is utilizing the Coleman AI technology from Infor and finding ways that we can be smarter about our purchasing and really make sure that we're anticipating what our customers' needs before they need it. We have just broken ground on a brand new distribution center that will have a lot of automation and robotics within, and a new WMS system also from Infor. And this is a journey for us that we started way back in 2017. And we have continued on as we have seen our innovation and the technology story continue on. We've grown with it and we've developed with it. It will continue on into the future as more and more of the automation and robotics are available to us. It will just continue to improve our ability to turn our inventory faster and partner more deeply with our vendors to make sure that we have a broader spectrum of their products available.
Sounds like you have some really exciting plans for scaling technology within the organization. I'd now like to double click on some of the best steps that leaders can take now when they're navigating this ever-evolving landscape. Maury, how can organizations take advantage of emerging technologies like AI to really improve their readiness here?
Well, and I think there's a couple of different forms of AI, and so I think it's really good to pull that apart a little bit. I think you can leverage AI to be predictive, so to help identify issues before they're happening. Certainly also to be prescriptive, to help you react much better, or the field to react much better if issues do rise, and certainly even self-healing, right? So Gen AI should be able to actually solve some of these problems on their own. So in addition to this collaboration, I think you can really do a lot before you even get to the point of the problem.
Some really great real-world examples that really show why and how transparency between stakeholders is critical. Maury, can you share some other examples of how Infor's technology helps customers really foster that visibility that Katie talked about today?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It's not just a matter of having the relationships, which is super important, right? And you can only imagine the technology can make that process be more real-time and observational versus requiring such a lift and so manual in process. And so I think what Infor really brings to the table is the ability to have that conversation or have that visibility in a very repeatable, consistent format in real time through systems and visibility that is real time through data.
I love how you brought all those elements of a lasting supply chain together. I'd like to now add a little bit more color onto the conversation and ask Maury, is there an example of an Infor customer specific to supply chain? And can you tell us how Infor has been helping that organization?
Absolutely. I think Target is a great example. They have been able to reduce their lead times to about 12 days. And I think they've saved $80 million just by focusing on this idea of product flow streamlining and real-time visibility and global risk management.
If you're interested to learn more about some of the great topics we covered on this episode, follow the instructions on screen now or click the link in the description. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the notification bell. Some amazing results there. Katie, I wonder if you could explore customer behaviors for us now. Are there any notable changes that you're seeing in customers in terms of how they might be impacting First Supply?
Customers today want a lot of options in terms of how they want to interact with us and therefore our vendors. And they have different levels of comfort with technology depending on where they are in their own personal or professional technology journey. We've got some customers who still want to call their inside salesperson on the phone and talk to them every day. And that's part of what they want to do. And that's great. We can offer that to them. We've got others who want to go on our e-commerce platform and transact there completely and use our chat function in order to get quick answers to their questions. We've got some who want to come into a bricks and mortar building and place their order in person or pick up whatever it is they need. And it's really critical that we're able to insert that technology. I was recently looking back at our history. We bought our first computer in 1969. We had 55,000 products then. Today we have hundreds of thousands of products. And so our ability to keep up with that type of technology and keep inserting it at the right place in the path really makes our supply chain quite resilient and really makes sure that we're in for the long haul in terms of being a critical part of that supply chain.
Some really great insights there on the evolving customer needs. And then that's the key point there is evolving. Katie, as we conclude and kind of reflect back on our conversation today, I'd love to get your opinion on the most important takeaways for the audience in terms of those looking to evolve their supply chain resilience.
I think the top three takeaways when we think about supply chain resilience is really the intimacy piece, and that's being intimate with your vendors and your employees and your customers. So making sure that you have an understanding of the best practices and the best ways to conduct business together all through that supply chain. The second is the curiosity around the technology that's going to be needed to deliver on all of those experiences, as well as grow revenues and ensure that the profitability for any business is there for the long haul, and failing fast in that, figuring out we're going to try this here, we're going to try that here, and not everything has to be a big, huge IT project. We can do some little bits of testing and trying things overall. And then the third piece is almost the counterbalance of that, in ensuring that we're solving real problems with the technology that we're implementing and utilizing, because it's easy to get excited about some of the things that are going on that are changing really quickly and how we're all going to be using these technologies into the future. But just because it's available to us doesn't necessarily mean it's the right solution. And sometimes just utilizing the technology that's available to us today in a better, more effective fashion is the best case scenario.
Thanks so much for sharing your thoughts. Really insightful there. Mari, as we look to conclude this episode of Double Click, what are some of the key takeaways, in your opinion, that the audience needs to be really focused on today?
Sure. I mean, I think the one big takeaway I would say is you just have to get started. It's not a problem that can be ignored. The bottom line is we're going to continue to have situations, be it natural disasters or geopolitical, that are going to continue happening. And so this is something that we have to pay attention to. I think the second is certainly to be curious about technology, but I very much so agree. It's about starting with the business challenge and making sure that you have a good prioritization of the value you will be getting and a good first, second, third prioritization about how you will address those challenges. And I think the third is really make sure you pick a good technology partner, someone who can be your partner in crime on this, because it really does require additional skills and technology to bring a lot of this to life.
And that draws us a close to this episode of Double Click. We want to thank you both, Katie and Mari, for sharing some outstanding perspectives. And we hope that you watching gain some valuable insights. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Double Click. And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell.